This is the book of Isaiah chapter 47. Start at verse 1 and it reads, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon." So the virgin daughter of Babylon is America, aka Babylon the Great. When you go into Babylon, ancient Babylon is considered modern day Iraq. So that land is still there. You know, that's how we know by going through and filtering the scriptures that it couldn't be talking about when it talks about Babylon mentioned in the scriptures in the future tense. That can't be talking about, you know, ancient Babylon or the modern day Babylon or that land area of Iraq, because that land is still here. It hasn't been destroyed yet. So this is a future prophecy, but it's basically in regards to America. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. We know that the Chaldeans were considered like the wise and basically the wealthy and wise and the learned men, the sorcerers of the, nation of Babylon. They were considered the elite. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Verse 2, take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Verse 3, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, it's like it. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to called Elohim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakadosh V'Tam. I say double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, who teach and do rule well. I say peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. I say shalom to the Akim and the Aquath out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, and appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. This is your brother Yahweh Sab out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, and I'm coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Shai. Basically, this lesson is in regards to this article I had noticed. Maybe I can't recall. I do a lot of, got a lot of stuff going on, so it'll be that's how the days pass by quickly. But anyway, like if I see something in the Spirit move me to want to do a lesson on it, I'll bookmark it or something. I might not do it at that day, you know what I mean? Because, everybody busy, and then things are increasing as far as, pretty much everything, you know, the Lord increasing, you know, just everything is on an increase. The scriptures say when iniquity abound or increase, the love of many shall wax cold. The closer we get to the end, the harder everything's going to get, you know, that last, because this considered as a race. I believe that's in the Hebrews, or this looked upon as a race, and that last stretch of a race. Although this isn't a sprint, it's more of a marathon. That's why it's longevity. Our elder apostles actually confirm that. They've been doing this work diligently for decades. You have a lot of men like myself included that's babes in this truth. But that's why you got to learn the pace for you to run at. Everybody's not given the same portion of spirit. But again, usually the last mark of that race, the last the fin the last portion of the race is usually the hardest. Put it like that. So anyway, I seen this article and it's just I've been doing videos about California for whatever reason lately too, because I just did a video about how I didn't know San Francisco basically was deemed the crappiest city in America, and the reason why that is because of the fact they found it's basically like human excrement found throughout the city. And it's funny because I actually had the opportunity to visit downtown LA, and I kept on questioning like, well, damn, it smelled exactly like shit. Now, downtown LA is not in the same area as San Francisco. I know San Francisco and Oakland are in the same vicinity and it's a bridge that separates them. But I'll never forget that. And I knew it was spiritual then because, with spirits come sometimes smells. But, when I found that out, I did a video on that. And now you got this. So this showing you that this place is sitting in the dirt. The Lord is basically bringing this place low. Beverly Hills was seen as the epitome of wealth and status. But now, this is out of the Daily Mail. It says, "Rest in peace, Beverly Hills." Startling video shows how once thriving shopping Mecca is now a desolate wasteland as high-end shops, banks, and restaurants shutter their doors amid economic woes and crime. Because basically this place is over with, you know what I mean? And this the what's the word? Not the scariest, but the most frightening part about it though is it's a slow kill too, because it's like it is dying, but it ain't completely. It's still on his knee. I mean, it's still on his feet to a degree. Staggering, like scriptures talk about staggering like a drunken man off wine, roughly paraphrased. Yeah, it want to fall, but it's already dead. You know what I mean? Like once it's the spirit took his brother. I think it was the brother from North Carolina. I believe that brother put our brothers post pictures and information, and he went into like currency and what all that means. And currency is what actually allows a city or a government or a nation of people to thrive. Like currency with electricity. A current actually gives a place power. Electrical current. And once you stop the currency, when the money fails, other things tend to fail. That's how they was able to. You got to think about it. That's how they was able to basically get people into the position they in now. More than ever reliant on the government. When the elders broke down what government mean. Gov to control, mental, your mind. So and the scriptures tell you we was bringing this out of camp, because when you go to Romans 13, it talks about how basically all powers that are set up, they're set up by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the Most High. So they're all ordained by the Most High. So we're supposed to basically follow to a degree, not to a degree, we're supposed to follow the laws that's set in place because it's all will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. The thing is, it's when these laws of these people contradict the laws of our power. A true believer basically is willing to stand up and against that. It's another video I was watching too. I was watching them Hodge twins, and it's a love and hate relationship with towards them with me, because I know they Jake. I seen the father, but they act so much like Esau. You know what I mean? Like they, then they really believe in the system and Republican voting, and which certain things, they write about, like the elders even go into that, like when you go into democracies and, Dracon or Draco, the politician, the Greek politician, and how, basically most dictatorships basically formed out of democracies. And, if I believe it's the dictatorship, but basically democracies are a lot worse than republicans or republics, because republics are supposed to be for the people. But at the end of the day, like the elder said, it's really two sides of the same coin. It's a whole illusion of choice. It's perception. We were bringing that out of account because, if you could change the perception of somebody, that's a form of witchcraft. It's illusion. I can make you believe something the whole time I'm fucking with your mind, playing mind game. That's why, like, you got women do that shit all the time. Like, you got women that appear like one way in the city they live in, but this same woman will be going to another state, sucking and fucking dick for money. This bitch be a OnlyFans broad or something. You know what I mean? And I've known, well, I've not personally known any of them, but women shrewd to a degree. You know what I mean? And that's why scriptures talk about how Yahweh Shah said basically what Solomon said. Out of 1,000 men, I knew one righteous, but out of 1,000 women, I knew not one. But not to digress, the video's about this, because at the end of the day, it's the end. You know what I mean? Like I said again, once, like I said, the money's all bad. Like Genesis says, when the money fell off, you know what I mean? And again, in order to bring in a new system, you got to basically get rid of the old one. You know what I mean? That's with anything. You know, you've ever seen a school or office upgrade the software or something like that? Like they got to actually remove all that old software. You know what I mean? Like, so this system has to die. This money has to fail in order for that new system. You know, they put a new system in place. You got to remember, they're not even really talking about the Fed now. Like, Fed now is supposed to be instant, you know, transactions, but yet and still, I still see pending transactions. So that lets you know they haven't implemented that. That lets you also know that Fed now is more than just what they're saying. But anyhow, so it says a new video emphasizes the number of high-end Beverly Hills shops that have shuttered in recent years. And this is nothing, you know what I mean? Like I've been in a spirit because the Yahweh Shemel shop, you know, put a spirit on me to be like basically back with that basically stuff. That's why I gotta get into that dictionary, brother. Talking to myself. But Lord put the spirit on me to, you know, follow these keepers of the house or these economists. And it's a lot of like it's you got economists popping up out of the blue, and everybody, you know, that's how you know is just like you got people getting paid to say shit, you know what I mean? Like you got economists like it's shit, you know, like your Peter Schiffs and your John Williams and you know, even Robert Kiyosaki, like certain people see certain things. You know what I mean? Now they looking to make money out of it, not understanding or probably even believing that these devils about to come down with great wrath. You know, they thinking, you know, because sometimes I heard it phrased, they say history don't really repeat itself, but certain trends do. But, you know, it's no new thing under the sun. You know, spirits reincarnate, so it ain't like, you know what I mean? But anyhow, certain things constantly, you know, that's why, you know, when you look at fashion and whatnot, showing you like creativity is only so much. I was looking at a post that one of the brothers put up with Kanye. Kanye, basically those Kanye, and I never liked them shoes, but they was basically showing the comparison to old slave shoes and them shoes. So his shoes really look like some slave shoes. I think I might have took a picture of it too, because I was like, wow. And I never liked Kanye's. You know, like, you know, they some ugly shoes for $200 and $300, you know what I mean? In my opinion, you know. But anyhow, Jake like what they like, you know. Anyhow, so with that being said, you know, since closed stores, I mean, with that being said, it's a lot of stores, you know, they talking about like Home Depots. You got restaurants struggling. You got everything struggling. And the reason why everything is struggling because the money basically ain't being spent because people don't have any money, you know, and then the government's not really like basically putting any stimulus in there. They're actually raising interest rates. So if interest rates are up, it's more expensive to buy things because they want people to stop buying things. You know, then, like I said, they're talking about at the time when you got student loans about to come back. And, you know, you got to remember, at one point in time, people didn't have to pay bills. You know, you had rent moratoriums and, you know, you have all these things where people didn't really have to deal with responsibilities. And not a lot of those things ended, you know. And you got people that don't know what to do. And that's why crime is, you know, like, because it ain't sweet. This shit about to be real. It says a new video documenting the growing number of high-profile stores in Beverly Hills that closed recently places renewed emphasis on the crisis facing the retail sector in most cities. You know, the video posted by an account called Cody90210 shows some 11 popular Beverly Hills retail shops now entirely shuttered, including the iconic former Barney's location, Brooks Brothers, All Saints, the high-end women's fashion boutique Escada. And that's the spirit because Brooks Brothers, we in the city of Cleveland, I'm in the GMS Cleveland camp, and our downtown has a Tower City. That's, you know, every major city has a downtown area, you know, usually for tourists and whatnot. And we got a Brooks Brothers, or we had a Brooks Brothers, because I didn't know how popular that, you know, I don't really wear suits. I'm just now, you know, like got a pair of slacks here or there, you know what I mean? Like I hated going to church, you know what I mean? I guess I was in the proper spirit. I hated going to church with my mom. But, and then, it's a long story, but I hated going, you know, and so I never really liked it to dress up in dress clothes, even from that time, you know. But to say this, I do know it was a Brooks Brothers in Tower City. And basically, I didn't know that company had been around for so long, but that one had closed, I want to say like last year in Tower City. So for the one in Beverly Hills to close, because Like it's a few brothers that work at a department store. I'm not going to mention the name, but he was saying he could see, because you when you work at these different restaurants and these department stores, you got your kind of ear to the pulse of the city because people spending money. Like again, like I remember when LeBron James won a championship. Literally, the city, and my brother made a statement. He said, based on that, this is how much power that dude got. He said, based on this dude winning, the hot dog vendor make money off of that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of power he held. But now when you got people that don't got the money, it ain't like you got people, shit so serious, you got people not really even being distracted by sports like that. That's why you had that guy Cameron with his show, It Is What It Is, basically, getting recognition and because you got a lot of, ESPN was basically laying a lot of people off and firing them because, people ain't watching that shit like that because it's way more serious stuff to deal with, even when they was bringing out the information about, the UAPs. You had people making TikTok videos saying now they want to talk about it actually being aliens, but right now food is expensive. It was like that's just the fact that there's other life in the universe. That's you could put that on the back burner. People was making jokes, but they was serious as hell too. The closed shops, which also include convenience retailers like Rite Aid and Chipotle, and even popular workout class options Soul Cycle, have shuttered their doors on Wilshire Boulevard. Leaving the area bereft of its former appeal. Their sad decline marks a departure from the area's lengthy heyday, which even saw band Weezer's pen a song with the lyrics, Beverly Hills, That's Where I Want to Be. The reason for the ample number of closures varies as many brands see a decrease in demand for in-person retail experience. And, a lot of companies is basically going to survive by, doing an online presence. It might be one store, one huge warehouse. It's like with the banks. A lot of banks is shuttering, but some banks basically just completely over with, like that Silicon Valley Bank. But then you got certain banks like Key Bank here. That's a major bank in our city. They are closing a lot of brick and mortar stores, but they're going to focus on an online presence because everything is about to go online. Scriptures tell you that at least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we're not ignorant of his devices. We see the moves Esau making because the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, who you people eagerly call God and Jesus Christ, has given us the spiritual eye salve to see these things. It says, while stores lining Wilshire Boulevard were once popular spots for celebrities of the moment to have their pictures captured and circulated by paparazzi, the relevance of that type of media coverage has dwindled in the age of social media. Right. You ain't got to do all that now because, like I said, everybody got a phone. So, right now you got individuals that would have never been heard of just because you got platforms like TikTok and YouTube and shit like that. You got overnight stars. It's a guy called the Spice King. I watch him from time to time because I'll be trying to figure out if he Jake. I think he Jake, but he looked like he you could tell he like mixed. You know what I mean? Like he real high yellow. He got like hazel eyes, and then some certain things he do, he move like a Edomite. But then you see Jake in there, so like anyway. He is famous. And he gets paid for eating spicy shit. That's all he do. This is this is how buffoonish this world is. Businesses in Beverly Hills and Los Angeles in general are also in the midst of contending with a major spike in crime that has left many stores defenseless against mobs and robbers. Yeah, because I guess they passed that law where you are allowed to take up to a certain amount, and the security in the store employees are not permitted to chase or try to detain or stop you. So it's like they're kind of promoting crime because they want to be able to bring order when it gets so chaotic. Last month, stunned bystanders caught the shocking moment a gang of at least 30 brazen thieves ransacked an Yves Saint Laurent store in the upscale California shopping mall. And you know that's the spirit because we was going into brother was going into brother Bakar Moff was going into the migrants and how the migrants getting bused to different places. And I believe some got bused to California, or did they first begin in California and ended up in New York? Like basically they was in New York, and then I know the mayor out there sent a lot of them out. But I know it was at one point 100,000 down there, but I can't remember where they first, what state they first landed in. But ain't nothing by coincidence, you know what I mean? Like you got, like I know they showed them just sitting outside, like they had basically was housing them in hotels and whatnot. The city was taking care of it, but then it got to the point the city stopped taking care of it. So now you got this group of people that came here for sanctuary and opportunity. With this place, it's got no more opportunities. So what I mean, like this place is dying. At a time where they talk about a lot of businesses about to be laying off right before Christmas. You know what I mean? And the scriptures talk about how the Lord shall despise thy feast days. I think that's in Psalms, but you got one in Isaiah too. The ceasing of your festivals and your feast days. These holidays that Jake, 2/3 of our people participate in is actually go back to pagan customs. Like I did a video about that Burning Man thing, and the funny part is it was a video that goes into that because if you've ever seen the Wicker Man, like that's a pagan ritual for real. And then you had Chris Rock, retarded ass, you know what I mean? Which he's a sellout, like most of our people are, you know what I mean? It was sellouts back then, it's gonna be sellouts now. That's what it says, video posted online show multiple people in the dark clothes, multiple people in dark clothes, hoods, and masks running to and then quickly out of the store at the Americana at Brand shortly before 5 p.m. Glendale police said the thieves got away with about $300,000 worth of merchandise after they overwhelmed the staff and took everything they could in less than a minute. Yeah, because if it's 30 motherfuckers, like, right. None of these thieves use any weapons in the brazen scheme, and no injuries were reported. Investigations is ongoing as California continues to deal with an increased number of significant robberies after officials lowered the punishment for theft of items valued at less than $950. So, like, I know most states and cities don't prosecute if you got people that steal for a living, boost or shoplift or whatever they boost. That was an old term that I don't know what it's called now, but I remember growing up when we were running the streets and we had people that would go and get name brand clothes and sell it to us for a fraction of the price. You know what I mean? They took all the risk. And you got people that was good at that shit. And I think it's like before they would prosecute you with a felony, you had to steal up to a $500. But now they expanded that. But why would you do that right at this time? Right when all this shit going on? You got to question, like, why? So, with that all being said, it's a long ass article too. But you see how empty it is, you know what I mean? Look at that. You know what I mean? This shit look dead. You see two people right there. You see that look dead, because people ain't spending money. And they talking about right now, that's why a lot of money's leaving the banking industry, because you got, like, because I'll be seeing certain articles where it be talking about, like I think they said within the last year, like over $1 trillion has left, or 15 trillion. It was a certain amount of money that left the banking industry because you got a lot of rich individuals that's filtering and pulling their money out and switching their money up because they see something coming. I remember when I came home in 2008, I was watching, I used to watch The Real Housewives, and they had that channel that it aired on had like 4 or 5 of them. I used to like to watch the Atlanta one because I'm looking at the women. I'm fresh home looking at the women. So anyway, long story short, I know it's one with Edomite women called Beverly Hills, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and one of those women made a statement. Because you gotta remember, at that time, like the economy was like way fucked up then, and the lady made a statement. She was like, if we don't spend any money, the economy is affected. So with these wealthy people not really spending money, and they moving their money around because they see, it's looking dark in outside the window. You know what I mean? This place is just dead. It's over with. We're just waiting for it to die. You know what I'm saying? We waiting to, you know, we just plan it out. You know, I can't tell you exactly how everything's gonna take place. I can just tell you what the scriptures say. You know. So, you know, I'm gonna get this in the book of Habakkuk because, you know, it's a appointed time for this to take place because the scriptures say so. It's the book of Habakkuk chapter 2, and it reads, "I will stand upon my watch." This Habakkuk 2:1. "I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved." So Habakkuk basically was set up to be a watchman. You know, when you go into Ezekiel, it talks about the watchman. You know, a job of a prophet or a seer. You know, because the seers were, or the prophets were called seers before they were called prophets, is to watch. You know, we see the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We see, you know, spiritually certain things that, you know, the nation and the heathens don't. You know, that's why every society or every captivity, you know, when you look at the different captivities and different, you know, at different times when Jake is mentioned in the scriptures, you know, when they were prophesying, you know, it might have been in you know, you know, like when Jeremiah, you know, he was in the land of Israel, you know, he was, you know, but yet and still though he was prophesying to his people, yeah. But his people couldn't see what was about to take place. You know what I mean? He spiritually was trying to warn them, but they couldn't see it, you know, and they didn't want to actually accept it either. Verse 2, "And the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua answered me and said, write the vision, which is the prophecy, and make it plain upon tables." You ain't gotta like try to oversell this. You ain't gotta, you know, just make it plain upon tables. You know, you go out here and you break the scriptures down to their simplest form. You know, we know that, you know, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, or Haitians are, go back to, you know, one of the lost 12 tribes. You know, we know that basically we have a heavenly father and a big brother that's telling us to come back to the law, statutes, commandments before judgment, you know, while we have grace now, before he brings judgment. We know that the heathen have a reward, and we know Esau, Edom, the ultimate heathen, has the ultimate reward, a recompense like none other. It says, "And make it plain upon tables that he may run that read of it, for the vision is yet for a appointed time." So all these prophecies have a appointed time. And I was going into the money felon and all this, and I can't tell you when exactly that is, but we watching the signs. You know, scriptures talk about measuring the time diligently. How are we measuring the time? By the scriptures. So we match up what's going on in the scriptures by what's going on in the world. "For the vision is yet for a appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarries." So sometimes the prophecy start, stop, start, stop. But right now we see that, you know, they setting society up for one major prophecy. You know, they got technology where basically everything can be digitalized. And like the elder Apostle Gabar had made mention of, you know, you already kind of dealing with a form of digital payment when you use credit cards and whatnot. So just imagine when they able to actually, like, you don't have to have your wallet or nothing. They just can put the device in you. You know what I mean? And you scan it. Like you a fucking product. You know what I mean? Like, that should piss you off in itself. The fuck they gonna scan you? What the fuck? It says, "Wait for it, because it will surely come and will not tarry," and that's the word of the Lord. I forgot where I know it's in Isaiah. It says, "Surely all these prophecies shall come to pass." The Most High is a man that he cannot lie. Verse 4, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." Who is the just? You know, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, and Haitians, the elect. Because we got 2/3 of our people and they're Israel, but, you know, it's a Israel, you know, it's a elect of Israel, you know what I mean? And his soul, which is lifted up, is Esau, Edom. He's the proudest individual on the planet. Verse 5, "Yea, also because he transgressed by wine," meaning his philosophies, his doctrine. He's a proud man. neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desires as hell, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And when you go into that word, thick clay is abatya. And when that breaks down, it goes into heavy debts. And the American dollar is basically a debt-based system. We're in a debt-based system. I've been watching, economists go into that. That's why this shit is about to be so hard, because we live in, nothing is really of value because it's a debt-based system. You know what I'm saying? And that's why this inflation is so fucked up, because it's a debt-based system. You know what I mean? Like they printed all that money. It was like a fake economy. It wasn't a real economy. High economy, people have to be working and producing and doing shit. People didn't do that. They just printed money. And people were so happy to get free money that they thinking they won, when in actuality they were setting a trap for this shit. If you in the spirit, you could clearly see Donald Trump is involved in this shit. Only people that can't see it is 2/3 of our fucking people. Talking about niggas for Trump. And you can see that one individual that was, like, our brother did a video about him. The dude used to be, like, in the politics, or he was an ex-this or something. Like, come on. This nigga's talking about, he wearing a shirt, niggas for Trump. But then you actually got individuals of our people that's really for Trump. Scriptures say, our people said we have no king but Caesar, The scriptures will really bust you in the head, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you really sit back and meditate on, like, damn, you know what I mean? Proving that everything reincarnate. So it's a prophecy that the money gonna fail. So I can't tell you when, but I can see it's close. Because this about to be, again, they say September is usually the worst year financially. I mean, not year, month. And then you got you got a lot of companies, like the major companies too, like Walmart and all that. They try to make they profit around this time because of those holidays. You got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas. But if you celebrating Christmas, like brother was telling me about a chick he worked with that basically she spent like $300-400 trying to uphold that tradition of Thanksgiving. When you go research it, why, like, literally it ain't even what they told you it was. You buy this expensive ass food for some shit that people, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't remember the last time I partook in a Thanksgiving. When I was homeless, of course, we would go to some of those little soup kitchens and whatnot, and they'll be, a fake ass Thanksgiving dinner, but for the most part, like, I didn't have to deal with that for years. So, the Lord winged me off that shit years ago, And then even in the world, we really didn't deal with it. We knew of it. I had family members that were trying to do something, but for the most part, we didn't sit around like a family at a table. And you know what I mean? I grew up in a dysfunctional family for real, This is Jeremiah chapter 15. It's like Jeremiah chapter 51. And verse 8, it says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. Verse 9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the sky. And when the Lord judges this place, it tells you in the book of Revelations that basically the smoke is going to rise up to the heavens. That's going to be the ultimate judgment. But these little judgments, like you're seeing, like, people suffering here. You know what I mean? This place being exposed. I was just listening to this guy that I follow, because it's like maybe 6 economists I'm following, because all of them are speaking the same thing. That's how you know this. They all say the same thing, and some of them look like Edomites, and then some of them believe in Jesus Christ. For the most part, I say all the ones I've been following, I think they Esau, but for the most part, the scriptures talk about his tongue shall fall upon themselves. You got Esau telling on Esau, because that's the will of the Lord. The difference between us, going into that information we filtered through the scriptures. So a lot of them, the economists figuring it's a way you're going to be able to make some money. And, what they don't understand is this is all set up to switch over to a different kind of system. Again, ain't nobody saying shit about this Fed now. I remember when brothers was up there, we anticipating this Fed now thing, but I think the elder brother Ariella from Dallas had said it was going to be kind of like this. But If this thing is an instant payment thing, why is they not basically using it right now? Because like I say, I look at my bank, I might swipe something with my card and it's still talking about pending from 2 or 3 days ago. So obviously they're not using that FedNow system right now. So what else is this attached to? What? Because it's like basically a platform. It's like a it's like a network. From what I've been told, going back up, Jeremiah 51:6, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul, be not cut off in her iniquity. For this is the time of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense, meaning a reward or a payment. And the thing is, everybody's going to flee out of here, but for the most part, 2/3 of our people won't. They love it here. We was just going into that, like I said, like the fuck, you talking about niggas for Trump. And then the funny part is the same day the brother did the video on it. I met, like, I didn't really meet the Jake. It was a female, it was an older lady talking to this Jake. And I mean, I'm talking about he passionate for Trump. Not knowing, like, Trump's so funny. Trump, basically, they took pictures of Trump supposedly when he got arrested. He took the pictures and sold them on cups and t-shirts and shit and raised like millions. So his whole lawyer fees and shit, he's not even going to have to touch his money. If this ain't what you call irony, I know he laughing his ass off. Like... The book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 2. Revelation 18:2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, behold, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and become the habitation of the devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and in a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And that's going to be basically when this place is destroyed, For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Her philosophy. Look at these different nations that, had customs, but they want to, live like Babylon the Great, aka America, and they've taken on these philosophies. Like Taiwan, for instance, perfect example. Taiwan was a province of Moab or China. That's the biblical name of the so-called Chinese. But they so drunk enough Babylon juice that literally they promote and believe in that, that freaky deaky lifestyle of man with man and woman with woman. And that's what, the issue is with China and Russia. Ukraine is allies and deal with America. China, Taiwan is allies and deals with America. And, they making money with them. But this whole situation with the BRICS nations and what the Middle East and Russia's doing with this gas, this is about to fuck this place up. And that's when your hyperinflation gonna come in. Brothers did videos about that $300 a barrel, that they about to stop production of oil. Gas about to go out the roof. On top of them about to lay off and all that. So expect great chaos, Chaos is coming. Great suffering, misery, and death coming. And rightfully so. It's a scripture in Isaiah talk about we wait for the judgments of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, roughly paraphrase. Like, these people need this shit, Like, you'll have a nigga so adamant, like the Lord put certain spirit on certain people just to be the ultimate. I remember the elders was talking about like with Mike Tyson. He got a certain kind of spirit. We know he Jake, but that nigga don't believe. He in a Willie D type of mind frame. He's a DL Hughley type of goofy ass shit. You know what I'm saying? It says verse for all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Verse 4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which she have filled to her double. So all the wickedness this place has pushed out, and the atrocities and violence and all that, It's gonna be double. That's gonna come like you gonna see America. The Lord gonna say the best. It's atrocities going on earth right now, but the Lord say the best for last. Just imagine how violent it's gonna be here. It's more guns than people. These people come with this fake ass attitude of, America the great and we all Americans. I was just reading an article earlier today about how two Jakes was discriminated at a Denny's because the Edomite bitch didn't want to serve them. And then she called the police on them. It made me laugh because I remember back like maybe 10, 15, 20. I remember when we was younger, Denny's would always be in the news for not basically serving black customers. They always had a racial profile on Jake. So this place doomed. Like these motherfuckers gonna eat each other, just like Joker said. He said these civilized people, especially because they supposed to be the most civilized in the world, right? Yeah. And the Lord do a little shit, like I said, with that Burning Man. People sitting up there talking about, oh, they was just locked down for one day. You know what shit they had to leave? That person died. They was scared to fuck. They was scared as death. Hey, listen, you drove out there and then you can't get no traction to get up out that shit. I know you was scared. Fuck is you talking about? But that's most people, like I said, they don't really want to admit they, man. Yeah, that's the point. I'm going to end with this because, like I said, at the end of the day, evils is coming. This is Ezekiel chapter 7 and verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, came unto me, saying, also thou son of man, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, power unto the land of Israel, and the end is come upon the four corners of the land. Now is the end come upon thee, and I will send mine anger upon thee, and will judge thee according to thy ways, and will recompense upon thee all thine abominations. Verse 4, and mine eye shall not spare thee, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense thy ways upon thee, and thine abominations shall be in the midst of thee. And ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Verse 5, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, power and evil, and only evil behold is come. And when you go into the word evil, which is compound, it's a compound word, eve meaning time, ill meaning bad. Bad times are approaching. And you got people going through bad times right now, you know what I mean? But you got even worse times coming, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like real shit. Like, I had to experience homelessness because the Lord saw fit for me to. And for a long time, I couldn't understand why. And, I was bitter and shit like that. But now I look back on it and I'm actually grateful because it showed and taught me a lot of things. Like, I don't look at things the way I used to, ain't nothing wrong with being, taking the pride in your appearance and being clean. And because that, when you look good, you feel good about yourself. But a man not supposed to be all into his appearance. That's feminine. A man ain't supposed to take a woman take 3 hours to get dressed. A man ain't supposed to take no fucking, you know what I mean? So little shit like that, like, I ain't saying to be a slob and nasty as fuck because, it's laws with cleanliness with our people, with our culture, with our nationality, our nation of people were, you know what I mean? Like, we were clean and we had, but what I'm saying is, the things that people hold of value in here, like once you don't have certain things, once you lose certain things, you learn to just look at things in a different perspective, you know what I mean? And that's the thing, perception, Perception is a hell of a thing. Me and another person could be watching the same thing, but I might see it in a way that they can't. Just like we all watching what's going on, but only certain individuals are able to see what's going on. First, the end is come, and watching for thee, behold, it is come. Skipping to verse 25. I'm going to start at verse 23. Make a chain, for the land is full of bloody crimes, and the city is full of violence. And we about to come into a time of violence like you've never seen before. It's all kind of shit happening. They just not reporting it, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like they not reporting how detrimental and dangerous this banking situation is. Like, literally, the feds talking about don't worry about nothing, but then I was watching this one economist, he brought us some information. I did a video on it, because during that Silicon Valley shit, it wasn't just them 3 or 4 banks that they talked about. It was like 700, it's like hundreds of banks that's insolvent. Do you know what that means? They can't really fuck shit. So, like, they hoping that they get a bailout. But if the government's credit rating fail, Now, you got to understand the elites basically are all behind this. They got the money so they can prop it up or they can pull the plug. But you got to remember, this place has a time to end. And that's why the scripture said end has come. Verse 24, wherefore I will bring the worst of the heathen, and they shall possess their houses, and I will also make the pomp of the strong to cease, and their holy places shall be defiled. Verse 25, destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none. Because, you know, scriptures talk about when peace and safety, 1 Thessalonians, peace and safety, but sudden destruction coming. You know, they tell y'all everything all right. Yeah. Labor Day, you live. And like I said, and I can't say, you know, we got to sit back and wait and watch and see, but, you know, you could see, like I said, certain moves being made. Put it like this. Your best time now is to get right now. Because at any day, the Lord could do, it's his movie. He could do this at any day. You know, he could do this at any time and any day. And the thing is, though, like a younger brother made a statement. He said, you know, you got to remember, America's called bitter. So this gonna have to be a bitter, you know, like I said, I told you, this is slow death. You know, because you still got shit going on. You know, you got like construction jobs. I ride past, you would think, you know, scriptures even said that in Malachi. They said, you know, how this devil gonna be building, but the Most High gonna tear down. Like, this devil's building. But you got to understand how those work. Like, if you've ever worked in construction, money been changed hands. So they've been paid for this shit and all that. You know what I mean? They got a certain deadline. There was a contract written up. They had a certain deadline to have that shit done. And if it ain't done, you know, but for the most part, people been paid and shit been already signed over and material been bought and all that. So when you seeing all this, just because you seeing building going on don't necessarily mean that shit good. Actually, you know, it's just like I said, that's if a carnal person will look at it like, oh yeah, shit good. But that's not, you know, like right now, like motherfuckers, you know, trying to sell their homes for ridiculous prices that people can't afford. That's a smack in the face. So people, man. So anyway, like I say again, we just go watch and see, you know. I pray this lesson has been edifying. If you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of your power, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Allah Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Rachagadoshwakatham. Double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim, across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. Say shalom to the Akwap and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this was edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations. Subscribe to the truth. To you, I say shalom. So next time I'm able to come with another lesson, I'm going to say shalom, shalom. I'm going to say mawak, lababal, shalom.